Monday AI agents took over my work. And I absolutely love it. Chasing deadlines, writing status reports, updating stakeholders. Agents handle the daily grind now. They live inside Monday.com, so they see the full picture. My work, my team, the whole company. And I don't have to worry about the data. It's safe, which means I'm free to focus on the big stuff, knowing everything runs smoothly in the background. It's completely shifted the way we work. Create your own AI agent in minutes on Monday.com.
Welcome back to No One Told Us. I am so excited today to speak with Elodie Ferchaud. I was just really trying to practice that pronunciation before we began.
You did it great.
Thank you. Elodie is a mom of four, a global explorer, co-founder and chief revenue officer of Boundless Life. And after years leading global brands like P&G and L'Oreal, Elodie made the bold decision to step away from traditional corporate life and design a lifestyle rooted more in freedom, adventure, and intentional family living. And through Boundless Life, Elodie is helping families around the world rethink how we live, how we learn, and how we work by combining location independence, community, and purpose-driven careers. And I'm so excited to talk to you today. I love that we're recording right on the heels of my time in Japan, where I got a little sneak peek of Boundless Life in action, and I was just so impressed, and I think it's so wonderful. We'll talk more about that at the end. But first, I just want to thank you for being here and for having this chat with us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
So you are a mom of four. Can you tell us how old all of your kiddos are?
Yeah, I'm a very lucky mom of four. So I have three girls, 11, 9, and 7. And then we went back at it with a little boy 7 years later. So 6 years later, Victor is 1. So now the family is complete. And 3 of them were actually born in Japan, 1 in the UK. We are respectively Swedish and French, so truly a global family now.
Yes, I love that so much. And when I was in Kamakura with you, we were talking a little bit about all of the different influences from places you've grown up and you've traveled to. And I think that that is so fascinating. One thing I'm curious too, because this is a question I get asked all the time since I have 3, is how did you guys find the bigger age gap? Because there's, you said 7 years, right? Between your third and your fourth. How did that go?
I think for us, it's been the best thing that could happen to the family, actually. It's been truly amazing to see how the girls embraced and welcome their little brother. There's been, like, logistically, it's been easier because I have more space. They're more independent, but also emotionally. So what I found is that the girls have zero jealousy. It's only pure love. Right. And having come from a place where, you know, I had 3 under 5, and there was a lot of many feelings to manage during those years. Now we're welcoming a 4th one, and everyone is just like adoring him, welcoming him. So it's more like having 3 babysitters at home than now having 4 kids. So that completely changes the dynamic for me as a mom. And just makes the arrival of the 4th one much easier. So I've loved that age gap, actually, so far.
Yeah, so far.
I mean, everything changes all the time. So I'm just embracing the now, and then we'll see later how that evolves.
Yeah, I love that. What a lucky little guy. It sounds so sweet. And I always say a boy that has a bunch of sisters is just set up so well for life. Like, he will be,
I hope so,
amazing because he has all of his sisters. So we were talking about this a little bit too when I was in Japan. How would you say your parenting changed, like from your first to your 4th? Do you feel like more relaxed with him? Did you do anything super differently than you did with your other kids? What's been different?
When hunger strikes and I'm absolutely exhausted, or we're coming home from a trip or activities or camp or all the other fun things we want to do this summer, the last thing I want to do is stare at my empty fridge and try to figure out what we're going to cook for dinner. That's why I absolutely love Factor, because Factor has meals built around your goals, whether that's overall nutrition, more protein, or strength and workout recovery. And each meal is crafted with functional ingredients like lean proteins, colorful veggies, whole foods, and healthy fats. The best part is that they are fresh and never frozen, and there's over 100 rotating weekly meals, including globally inspired flavors like Mediterranean and Asian. So I absolutely never get bored. I always have something new and tasty to look forward to, and the quality is incredible. It tastes like you're eating a high-quality restaurant meal. You can also try the newly launched ready-to-eat salads, which I love for the summertime when it's too hot to eat warm food. And you can also add 70 plus add-ons to round out your nutrition. So from green juices to peanut butter energy bites, and everything's ready so quickly in just 2 minutes. Factor does all the shopping, prepping, and cooking, delivering straight to your door so you have more time for everything else that you want to do this summer. So head to factormeals.com/no-one-told-us-50 off and use code no-one-told-us-50 off to get 50% off and free daily greens per box with new subscriptions only while supplies last until 9/27/2026. See the website for more details.
Heat up your 4th of July at the Home Depot with our wide variety of grills under $300 and make every gathering one to remember. Give your outdoor space a glow up, whatever your budget is, with savings on seasonal plants starting at $5. With the grill fired up and your backyard set to perfection, you'll be able to invite friends and family over to kick off the party. Start celebrating with low prices guaranteed at the Home Depot. Prices may vary by store. Exclusions apply. See homedepot.com/price match for details.
I've definitely not been the same mom with all four. That is for sure. My first one, Lilu, was born here in Japan, and looking back at it, it was very, very complicated. I was basically kind of in between so many different like parenting cultures. I had my French upbringing and my mom, who has we're very close, so very strong influence. And then at the same time, my Swedish mother-in-law, who is also amazing, but also had a very different way to look at parenting, the American friends, and then the Japanese mama tomo, so my Japanese moms, friend moms. And all of it was like very, very conflictual cultural approaches to parenting. The French way is the frame. The French way is like there are rules and you wait. And the Swedish way is much closer. So taking the child in the same room and taking the child on you whenever he cries, closer to the Japanese way. And then yet the American way, you know better than me. So I was really, really confused as a first mom and kind of torn between the different approaches. And almost, I think, looking back, forgetting a little bit about actually listening to my baby, because when you have so many like advices, it's kind of hard actually to focus on what really matters. Yeah, that is your child. And then with number 2, number 3, starting to learn who I was as a mom and starting to realize that really that listening to the child is really what matters the most. And then now with number 4, I'm just so much more relaxed and comfortable with things that might not go exactly according to the plan. And that's fine, because my son is just he's himself. Like he's abiding by his own rules. And I'm comfortable with waking up at night. Like that's okay. Listening to him. So I've changed a lot as a mom, definitely.
Yeah. And I think I think for most of us, if we have more than one child, we get a little more chill with each one because you kind of have to, and you get more confident as a mom and you know what works and what you don't really care about anymore. Do you also think, though, that where you are located makes a big difference, and like who your friends are and where they're from influences you a lot?
For sure. Especially like when we're on cohort with Boundless, there are so many discussions around parenting. There is so many exchanges around how we raise our kids, but also we see so many different ways, I think, which is really, really rich in terms of just noticing and learning from each other. So that has had definitely a huge influence. And even when I was like back then in Japan raising the kids, I think I was truly inspired by the Japanese way, and no sugar, very close to the child, listening to the child, welcoming them. There is no right or wrong. It's very patient and learning independence very early on. So all of this is a very calming environment for parenting, which has been, I think, for me, very, very useful to learn, because the French way can be quite rigid. Like it needs to work in a certain, within this frame. And it can be quite stressful, I think, for the parents. Because if you're out of the frame, that there is almost like a problem. It's like, oh, he's still not sleeping.
Right.
Well, no, he's still not sleeping through the night. Oh, what's happening? So your diagnosis is a problem. While I think now living within this Japanese way of parenting, I'm much more comfortable with, it will eventually get there. He will go through his night. That's okay.
Yeah, you really do notice, we did at least in Japan, how calm parents were and how calm the kids were and how quiet it was. Like, it really is just a more peaceful way of being, it seems. And the independence piece is so interesting too, because you're right. They, like, the little kids do seem to be so much more independent than kids here in the States. But I feel like we in the States try to, like, force them to independence earlier, and it kind of backfires in a way where it doesn't seem like the Japanese are forcing it, at least not as babies. They know that they want to be close and that they need that co-regulation and they co-sleep and all of that, but then they do end up becoming really independent kids.
Yeah, that's very interesting, actually. Now that you're saying it, definitely it's done in respect, I think, of the child.
Right.
So it's a lot of unsaid. It's a lot of reading the air. I think that's how they talk about it in Japanese, and kind of feeling when your child is ready to be more independent. And then the whole society is also, I think, designed in the way that as soon as the child is ready, the parents just feel comfortable to let them go. I think one of the concerns we have, exactly, one of the concerns in the US, but also in Europe, like I would never let my 5 or 6-year-old in Paris come back from school by themselves.
Right.
But, now they're in Tokyo and they're coming back from school by themselves. It's Shibuya. It's like one of the highest density places on Earth.
Right. It's amazing. Yeah.
And they feel so safe, which is, I think, the most important one. The child's feeling within the society.
Right. They feel like the community has their back, kind of thing.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love that. So you spent years building your career at different global brands before kind of creating a different type of life for your family. Was there like one moment where you kind of started to question that more traditional path that you were on, or was it more of like a long-term decision-making process?
No, it was definitely, there was a moment. And for me, it's several things that happened exactly at the same time that collided and that really created that need for change. The core catalyst was COVID. And during COVID, I was in London. Back then in London, everything was closed. So the schools were closed. We were working from home. And that was very long. It was like a good 6 months. So I was still running the business and had the girls at home and was homeschooling. And there was suddenly this realization that the model hadn't changed so much in terms of education. And what the girls were learning were very similar to what I had been learning. And I was wondering, like, does it feel right? Like, we have like 30 years apart. But then also the realization that I had spent a lot of time commuting, that I didn't have as much quality time with my children as I wanted, because we were just busy. Like, it was a very busy life. And suddenly with COVID, it's this realization of, is it right for the family? Is that what I want during those prime years where we actually want to spend time together, right? Because when they're older, you never know. And then at the same time, I had a major loss in my family. So my brother passed away, which was like another major realization of, oh my God, life is so, fragile. And it could end at any point in time. I really want them to make the most out of it now. And that's when we decided to make that big switch. Had been a dream for a long time to have like a more nomadic lifestyle. And that's when we moved to Portugal, started Boundless, and the whole journey started. So it was a few different life events that collided and just made us make the big jump.
Wow. Okay. I want to talk more about how you started Boundless and how you got your partner on board. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Sounds good.
Okay, Elodie, so you said that you had all of these life circumstances kind of come together at once and you decided you wanted more of a, less traditional life with your kids to be able to travel with them and spend more time with them. And you started Boundless Life in Portugal. I'm curious, your partner, you recently got married, right?
Yeah. With the 4 kids.
Yes. So at the time you were partners, how did you get him on board? Or was this something that he really wanted to do too?
Oh my goodness, I'm so lucky. I think we're on the same wavelength. My daughter made this beautiful speech during the wedding, and she talked about opposites attract and that we were so different, but we actually share very, very much the same values. And when it comes to freedom and flexibility and designing the life we want, this is something that he's always embraced very, very strongly at work and personally. And he was already set up, like work-wise, to be fully remote. So we were able to actually do this pretty quickly and just go both on the road and start our own adventures. Also very much aware that, you know what, if it didn't work, that's fine. You
Right,
can
just
always
go back to life the way it was.
You
right.
just go back.
Right.
Exactly. You know that this was okay, but what if you could find something that is even better?
Right.
And that's what we were wondering. And I've always, again, since those big life events, like my big motto has been no regret. Like, I don't want to think, what if we had tried? What if? No, like, I want to try it, see how it works. And if it doesn't, just go back.
Yeah.
So he's always been very, very supportive. And I think with the 4 kids and the business, like without him, it would just be impossible.
Really hard. Yeah. Well, and I think too, like since you mentioned COVID, and I think since COVID, so many people's jobs are more remote. And so this type of living is probably more realistic than it ever has been before for a lot of people.
100%.
And you talk a lot about like life design and approaching family life with the same intentionality that we use when we're starting businesses. So what is that? What do you mean by that? What does that look like in practice?
Yeah, I think when I see so many parallels between how we run our lives and our families as well, and how we run our businesses. When we are like, as a business owner, we do have those practices of like regularly checking in, reviewing what are our values, what is our purpose, what is our 5-year like plan, where do we want to bring the business, how do we do it, but also engaging the organization on the team along the process, so people feel like they belong, feel like they're building this together. And this is something that I think we've been trying as a family to implement as well, with a lot of flexibility as well, because our lifestyle is changing a lot. But we do have those family meetings during which we kind of discuss, like check in, how is everyone doing, what has gone well, not well, what's coming up, where do we want to go next. And as the girls are getting older, this is also something that becomes more and more important because they have more and more of an opinion on this. So that's what we call like designing that life together as a family. It's being clear on who we are as a family, what is important for us, and how do we get there? How together do we build a life that we feel will be meaningful for the whole family?
Right.
I think it's a really fun practice. It can be really, really, it doesn't need to be very complex. The kids' attention span is anyway limited. But at least also as a couple, it's a very, very important practice. To have that intentionality in everything that we're doing.
Yes.
We have often, or I remember like 10 years ago, and it was also harder because the girls were younger. I think when the kids are young, you're drained, you're tired, but you have a tendency just to let life take you wherever it goes.
Yeah.
So kind of slowing down and thinking together as a family, taking those moments, I think goes a long way.
Yeah. You mentioned too that as your girls get older, they have more of an opinion. How do they feel about, traveling and living in different places and things like that? Do they like it, or do they get really attached to a place or friends? Is it hard?
So this is fascinating, simply because one, they have different opinions and you can see their personality shine, but also their own opinion changes over time. So I've seen my oldest really positioning herself as the global citizen. Like when you would ask her, where do you come from? She's like, I'm from planet Earth. Like she would be, she was the digital nomad child per essence and loved it. And like last year, suddenly it became a little bit harder. Like she wanted to spend more time with her friends in one place. So it was quite good because at the same time I was pregnant. So anyway, we needed to settle down in one place. So, she's had a year of more continuous relationship. And now she's been like, you know what? Like, I feel like we should go back on the road. And so now it's coming back. So the children are evolving through the years. And I think that's where also just being in tune, checking in, how are you doing, having those conversations and not just letting the wheel and life happens.
Yeah.
I think that's something we do more as nomads because we care, but also we're a little bit more worried. We're testing a different lifestyle. My second one was the opposite. She didn't like it at the start, and now she's loving it. Now you can't. I think the bigger the family, you can't really please everyone at the same time, right? So you need to be comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And you just need to have, again, open conversation. And it might not perfectly work, but understand why. And then there are ways you can adjust also this lifestyle to make it easier for the children also to ease into it. And it's okay. It can't be perfect for everyone at one point in time. That's
so
life.
true. Yeah, no matter where you are. Do your kids have a favorite place that they like to be?
They do have some places that they love to go back to. So for them, Japan and Greece are like really happy places. But then I also love to surprise them and show them that, yeah, those places are comfortable. But when we went to Uruguay last summer, which was the winter there, they were amazed by nature and forest and sunrise, sunsets, and sometimes they do like, why yeah, that was a good thing that you pushed us to go there.
Yeah.
Like they recognize that.
That's so cool.
Yeah, exploration is fun.
That's so cool. What has surprised you most as a parent, just like being in different cultures and seeing how different places do things differently? What are some things that you've found like the most surprising or that have kind of challenged your own ideas of parenting the most?
I've really been amazed by some of, and actually it's quite interesting because it's in all the island locations that we have. I'm thinking Greece, Bali, or Japan. One, culture is super strong there. I think people have a very strong sense of pride, but also community is very, very strong, and the love for children in general as well. So they're kind of all interconnected. And it's been quite beautiful to see how just random strangers would like embrace, your children, welcome them in the family. The girls have like a grandma in Greece, and they have like a grandpa in Japan, and suddenly like very, very strong bonds will form. I've loved to just see or like challenge myself being comfortable with also strangers welcoming the children. Like for me, being French at the start, it was a bit like, oh my goodness, like those are my children. I don't know you. And so you learn
stranger
being
danger.
comfortable.
Yeah.
Exactly. With this discomfort. And now I find myself like much more just like a positive believer in the true nature and true genuine and kind nature of human beings, having traveled around the world and seeing people just having very good intentions, and especially in those cultures that love children and where children are just accepted for who they are, which is curious, loving, loud souls.
Loud. Yeah. That is so sweet. I love that. Yeah, you can definitely see when you travel certain places, like just the attitudes towards kids. It's just so obvious, like in, strangers passing by, but then also in policies, right? Like places where they have policies that support parents, it just kind of like permeates the whole culture. And you can just tell that they really value families and value kids, and they try to make things easier on parents. Are there specific things that you've noticed in other cultures that feel like they're doing a really good job at making parenting feeling more supported?
So it will sound counterintuitive because Japan obviously has like natality challenges. And I think that's why, like for me, coming in here 12 years ago, they were already starting to try to support parenting. I don't know how you felt because you were there not so long ago also with little children, but I've really felt like it was so easy to do Japan with little children because everything is designed for the parents, from like changing stations everywhere and super clean in the subway or in like supermarkets or like feeding stations in the subway, and you can just stop by and they're beautiful, and you don't have to worry so much. Like when I'm in Paris with a newborn, it's just like it's so stressful. Like there is no place where I can change them, feed them. And Japan is really, really enabled. And I think it's been really an enabler for me in terms of parenting when being in Japan. So there is this awareness, at least, that it's hard to have like a little one, and it needs to be made as easy as possible for the mom or the dad while they're on the go.
It's honestly just like the little things that we noticed right away. I mean, you get to the airport, you're in the customs line, and there's a special line for you to go through because you have a young child, and you don't have to wait in line. It's like, wow, that's really nice. And that's like within minutes of landing, you know? And that just kind of sets the tone for, wow, they really do get it and they support parents here. And then, you know, you go into the bathroom and there's a little baby seat to put your baby while you're sitting on the toilet. And there's, you know,
so cute.
Yeah. And you're going through the airport, you're getting your bags from baggage claim, and there's a trolley with a child seat on it. Like just all of those little things that happen right away at the airport. I'm like, wow, we are very behind here. So yeah, we definitely found that it was so much easier having, I mean, travel with kids is always stressful for a million reasons, but it did seem to be very child friendly and parent friendly to me. So I really appreciated that. We are going to take one more quick break. And when we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about how you started Boundless and how parents can kind of learn more about having this digital nomad type of lifestyle. We'll be right back. Okay, so Elodie, I recently came to Japan and I got to check out Boundless Life's Kamakura location. Boundless Life has a bunch of locations throughout the world. Japan, I think, is the newest one, right?
That's right. The latest one, number 8.
Yeah. And it was absolutely incredible. So first, where did this idea for Boundless Life come from and how did you kind of get it started?
Yeah. Boundless was started right after COVID. Again, understanding that things hadn't changed so much from an education standpoint, that families also had now more freedom and options because remote work was rising. And that families wanted to expose their kids to the world and let them grow as open-minded, curious souls that they are, global citizens. There was no model that really enabled that. It was pretty fixed, and you had to commit to like an international school for 1 year. Like it was very, very rigid. And so we wanted to break that free and again, give back the power and the freedom to families to design the life that they wanted. To be fully transparent, we wanted that for ourselves first. So we designed it for ourselves with Mauro and Rachael. And that's how the first location started in Portugal. We really designed it with education at the core. So there is this education program that is the same wherever you go, same curriculum, same classroom. So the kids feel safe whenever they transition. And then we realized that the community was really what made Boundless so special. Because as a parent, when you're traveling around the world and moving around, it's hard to make new friends. It takes time. And Boundless completely like removes that. It's insane how in 1 week you come on location, you have 30, 35 families around you, and suddenly you feel like you belong. You're able to make those friendships extremely rapidly. And that's been really the two core anchor points of Boundless, which make this lifestyle now possible.
Yeah, that piece is so important. And So funny that you say it happened so rapidly. I mean, we were only there for a week. Your shortest cohort is usually the summer sessions, which are 4 weeks. So we were just like
That's
a
right.
teeny tiny little slice, just a little taste. And our kids went to the education center. They were really nervous. We picked them up early because we were like not sure how it was going to go. They were like, "Why are you here? We want to stay." They couldn't wait to go back the next day. They came back to our apartment and they were like, "Can we go play at Aspen's house?" And they just like went next door to play at the, and I was just like, wow, this is literally the fastest they've ever made a friend and like felt comfortable with another family. It was like absolutely incredible. But it was, like you said, like when you're moving to a brand new country, to make new friends like that would take such a long time, and there would be potentially a language barrier and like other barriers to really feeling connected that quickly. So I think that's just such an insanely smart piece that you kind of add with the Boundless model, that it really helps people feel like they've got their own community.
Yeah. And it makes suddenly it enables everyone in the family to enjoy the experience so much faster.
Mm-hmm.
So reducing a lot of the frictions basically that you usually have when you travel. While still ensuring, so the programs are between indeed 4 weeks, that the shortest, and then 3 months, which is the main experience. And you then have the time really to focus on getting to know the place, feeling comfortable, feeling more like a local. You start building your routines in Kamakura, in Japan. You start knowing your favorite coffee shop and start talking to, I don't know, the baker. And
exactly.
there is suddenly this ability to just feel like a local very, very quickly.
Yeah. It's such a nice way to do it. And I mean, I would say almost everyone that we talked to, the parents and the kids, this wasn't their first Boundless cohort. So it sounds like many, many people, if not the majority, either repeat and do like a second cohort in the same place so that they can stay for 6 months, or they kind of bop around and try out different Boundless locations kind of back to back. Do you find that that's what a lot of families end up doing?
Yeah, definitely. Now, 4 years in, that's what we can see in terms of pattern. We have every cohort, like now January that just ended, 70% of the families are have already booked their second or third or fourth cohort. So they're planning to come back. And I think it's further amplified again by the community, because the experience is magical for the children at the education center. But also then you just make really very solid friendships. So you just want to keep on traveling around the world with those people, because they're just they're like fun, curious, super driven. Other families, it's not always easy to find people on the same wavelength. When
it's
you
like
have
all
children,
mostly like-minded people,
exactly,
right?
like-minded people.
So
that's the beauty of it, I think.
It's interesting too, because I think a lot of people, at least in the US, are looking at leaving like as quickly as they can. And so it's interesting to see things like this that just make it, again, so easy. You set up housing for people, and the education piece is so big. What was kind of your inspiration behind building out the education center, and like what curriculum you wanted to use and things like that? Because also lots of parents in the US want to homeschool, because like you said, they're not exactly thrilled with the education that their kids are getting.
Yeah. When developing the Boundless Education program, we've taken two major approaches as the centerpiece, and then they've been enriched by other inspiration. But so for the kids who are between 1 and 5, our explorers, we follow the Montessori approach. So very child-led, and then you have 2 groups, 1.5 to 3, and then the 4 to 5. And then from 6, we go into a program that is inspired by the Finnish program. So very, very project-based learning. We're connecting all the different disciplines together for the kids to really make sense of the world around them. And we're injecting as much as possible of the local culture, obviously. So usually we have, for every cohort, we have what we call a quest. So it's this like red thread, this big theme that the kids will study that is connected to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And this red thread is the same across all the countries, across all the locations. But obviously, the way it's approached will depend on the local culture, the season in that country, and the educators really make sure that through field trips, through bringing partners in the classrooms, they give a different flavor to the theme, and make it hyper relevant for the children. Because at the end of the day, the more experiential the learning, the stronger the retention of the information will be as well. And what we want is just to get children excited about learning. We want them to want to come to the education center, like your children who are like, I want to go back. I don't want to go. Like this is the kind of feeling we want to have towards school and education in general, because at the end of the day, we want lifelong learners, right? They love learning as children, but more importantly, like they will carry that on as adults, because we know that in the future, you won't have like one career. You will need to keep on learning. You will need to keep on being curious. And that's what we want to keep encouraging. Those kids have it in themselves. All kids are curious. It's just that sometimes it kind of dies down, or it's like we don't nurture it enough. And that's what we're doing in the education centers.
Well, and two, I mean, they say like our kids, the kids of the future with their like Gen Alpha or something, they're going to need critical thinking. They're going to need to know how to work with other people. They're going to need to be culturally sensitive, and they're going to have all of these like more personal skills, because so many, rote tasks are going to be optimized, or it's going to be all AI by then. Like, who knows what it's going to look like. So I love the kids that when I dropped off my kids at the education center one day, they were talking about how their favorite thing that they were going to do that day was like a mindfulness lesson. And so they're really learning just like such amazing life skills, and it's so great to see. And it's so obvious that they're excited to be there and excited to learn. My kids are still saying, we've been back now for a week, and like we took them to Disneyland. We took them to the most amazing places in Japan. And they're still saying that like one of their top 2 favorite things from our entire trip was the pottery class that they did at the education center.
With the sensei. I was in Kamakura yesterday, and he's like, just for your listeners, I think he's 80 or something. He's such
up there.
A vibrant soul. And he was talking about those kids in the pottery class who were Godzillas and absolute creator machines. Like, he was amazed by their creativity and energy. So he welcomed the new cohort yesterday with you could feel the love for passing on like his passion. And how much, despite the cultural and language barrier, there had been some connection happening. So that was very, very special to see.
He is a very special man. I took his pottery class one day that I was there with the other Boundless parents. It was incredible. I mean, he was just pouring me glass after glass of sake. And so, of course, my pottery wasn't great by the end, but he still was like, it's okay. It's beautiful. Any creation is beautiful. Like, he just made me feel very great about myself. So I just loved him. What do you think is like the biggest surprise that parents have when they start to have this kind of digital nomad lifestyle? Like, are they surprised by how adaptable their kids are? Do they find it to be a harder adjustment? Like, what do you hear most often from parents who are just kind of starting with this?
I think very often the parents are surprised by how easy it is for their children. And how hard it is for them.
Yeah.
Everyone is very worried about the kids. The kids have never any problem adjusting. Like you said, your kids just made friends in a second.
And my kids are not super easygoing. Like they're intense kids. They're not just like go with the flow dandelion types. So
So I think the parents then just are surprised also by how much this traveling experience and this different pace of life questions in their like just life habits. So there is a lot of introspection also happening when on cohort, because suddenly you make the space for it, right?
Right.
You cut down all the all the obligations that you have back home. There is a lot less of this. There is no obligation. When you're on a cohort, you do what you feel like doing. You go back to actually just connecting with, yes, your family, the other families, but more importantly, yourself, and just relearning, unlearning, relearning what is important for you. And that's a big work to do. So I think for a lot of families, it's quite a big moment of pausing and growth that they haven't done for a while, just because as parents and working parents, we're so insanely busy.
It's true.
So we don't have the time for that.
It's
So
true.
I think that's one piece that they're also quite surprised about when they're on cohort.
Yeah. What's something, this is my last question for you, and it's more of like a personal question, but what's something about just parenting or family life or motherhood that no one told you before you had kids, but you wish you had known?
Oh, okay. I think the biggest one, and even if I had been told, I wouldn't have really understood it or grasped what it meant, is that there is no rule. Like there is no perfect way to do it. And there is no consistent way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a constant dance. You need to see how your partner is moving with the music. You need to adjust to it. You need to change your pace. You need to sometimes slow down.
Mm-hmm.
There is a lot of just flexibility, adaptability, exactly like when you're traveling. That you need to learn as a parent, and there is a lot of listening skills that you need to develop.
Mm-hmm.
So just going towards the same level, pausing. I was a very controlling person in the past, like type A, strong, career woman, and plus French, like all of it together.
Plus French.
So I was like, my first one turned out really okay, knowing what she went through. But I didn't listen as much, and that's something that I've learned along the years. And I wouldn't have understood it as an advice.
Yeah.
Just even if someone had told me, I think you learn along the way.
You have to live it. Yeah.
You have
it's
to
so
live it.
true.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. This has been such a fun conversation, and I hope that everybody
too.
will consider Boundless Life and consider being a digital nomad, even if it's just for a short time. I mean, you guys, like you said, you do short summer sessions where the kids get to do summer camp in a different country, which is just such an incredible opportunity. So where can people find you and connect with you and learn more about Boundless Life too?
Yeah, I would say the website is your best first source of knowledge to get to know the program, but also like schedule some time with our team. They're all doing Boundless Lives, and they're super kind and loving people. So the Boundless.life website will be your go-to. And then on Instagram, on our Boundless Life account, you can also see a little bit more of what's happening on cohort at the moment. So it's always a good inspiration. We have now 249, I think, families who started yesterday across the 8 locations. So there will be a lot of stories that we'll be sharing there if you want to see a little bit more. We still have space for the summer camps if anyone wants to taste the waters and see how that feels for the family, including in Japan, which is a cool location when you want to have cultural immersion. So I hope to meet some of you guys on cohort.
Are there other plans for more locations, or is that a secret?
No, we always bring on new locations. So we're currently working on another Spain location. We're also working on France as another location, and eventually we'll add on another Latin America one. So there is a lot happening.
Amazing.
But our families want to keep on traveling. They stay with us. And we also want to keep on traveling selfishly.
Exactly.
So we'll add more locations. Definitely.
Incredible. Yeah. So everybody check out the website. And actually the reason that I found out about Japan was because I'm also on your mailing list. So if people want to get like updates, make sure you join the mailing list.
Yeah, to subscribe.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Elodie. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for joining us.
Bye. It was a pleasure. Thank you. Bye.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why customers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.